Hi guys. I'm a little bit late. I'm just trying to set everything up. I'll be right with you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Let's get ourselves organized over here. Give me just 1 second. And let me get myself organized with MetaTrader. I'll be right there. I think we go to this one. No, wrong one. This one? No, wrong one. This one. All right, cool. This, we're gonna do this. Okay, awesome. Good evening, everybody. We are trading for Ola today. I have some interesting ideas of what I want to do today with the gold trade. So we'll discuss that in just a minute. How's everybody doing? Sound check, mic check, all check. Everything good? Let me know if you guys hear me. Hello, Rodney. How are you? So as always, we're trading for our friends at Ola Prime today. We're going to trade gold as always during the Asia session. And hang on, let me just organize myself just a little bit more here one more time. Okay. Get this going. Okay, excellent. All right. Actually, entering Asia session highs over here. So that's kind of interesting. And let's see if we got, what time is it? It's 1900, right? Let's make sure we have our session highs, session lows on the ORBs. I guess it's got to be -6. I always, right? Okay, there we go. Right. So this is the session highs, session lows over here that we're trading off of, which is basically 4,800, 4,797 to the low is going to be 83. That's actually a 13-point range, not really a big range. And we're trying to push through session highs. Not many dots on the horizon yet, but we are hitting Asia session high spike here. Here we go. Here comes the dot because range is finally starting to expand. And actually, you know what? I know why, because we need a more moderate range. That's why, because this is gold. So for gold, we actually just want like an 80 range. And that's gonna give us a lot more. There we go. There's all the there come all the dots on gold. So let's do something interesting. I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy this entry over here with, and this is the key thing. I'm gonna put my stop at the candle behind, right? So that would be like somewhere around 78 on 47.78 on the spot basis. And here's what I want to do. I want to exit on the next dot, whatever that dot is, instead of exiting on an exact target or having an exact price. So it's sort of like we're going to use the organic nature of the candles to get us in. The idea is we're coming in on a dot. The stop is the candle prior. The exit is the next green dot, obviously, because we're going up, right? So, whatever the green dot is. Now, the perfect time to have entered would have been here, would have stopped over here. But we just started a little bit late, so we kind of missed this nice big swing up. That means we're going to have a very limited. I don't know how much more of a run we have forward, but maybe we can run to like 48.15. So maybe the first trade example is not going to be the perfect one, but it's more about the trade process that I really want to show you, that I think is going to be really, really interesting, because it's the organic trade process that I think is much more in sync with just the rhythm of the market, rather than trying to impose a specific structure on the market that that is completely foreign to what's really going on the price action. So I want to trade literally with the price action. So like, for example, okay, I'm going to just get out of this just to give you an idea. So I'm going to close all, right? And I've, exited the whole position, made a little bit of money here on the position. And obviously, on spot, you're going to have, spread challenges and everything else. But in a perfect world, where what should have been the trade and what would have been the really good trade is, it would have been entry here, stop over here, candle back, and then an exit right over here. It would have been a nice, clean $5 exit off the candles. And then you could just sort of, keep doing it this way. So, we entered here. This was the exit. Great. Now, we're at Asia session highs. I'm just going to keep myself flat for the time being. But we'll try to trade the next dot sequence in that particular way. It's really going to, I think, make you much more in touch with a price action than just trying to impose hard stops, hard targets on the whole thing. And we're gonna do the same thing tomorrow in NAS on the final day of trade. I think you guys are gonna find that very, very interesting. It's gonna be much more like a rubber band type of thing. Nothing superimposed. No hard targets, hard stops, but rather elastic stops and targets on each trade. So you could have like just sort of if we came in here, there's a whole bunch of variations to it. You could say, well, I'm going to exit on the first dot, or maybe even the second dot of the sequence, which obviously would have been a little bit better. That's the $15 dot. But it's less about the specific sequence. It's more about using this process of dots to really be in touch with the price action, and see how it goes. We are, at session highs right now. We'll see if we want to push it higher, or whether this is going to be the end of the move. So I'm gonna just sort of be patient a little bit here. At this point, we've had 5-6 dots in a row. So I'm going to be looking for a little bit of a pause, see if I get a red dot. Now, the red dot very often is kind of a false signal, but because we're going to use very tight stops, it doesn't really matter. We're going to probe for a reversal move here. And it may take us 2 or 3 times to get the reversal move, but once we do, it's going to be very meaningful. So, we'll see how it goes out. This is a much more experimental way of trading the dots than just superimposing, saying, we're just looking for this setup in this particular structure. That's it. So a little bit, pretty good action. Obviously, great action in the market. I said this morning to all you guys, I thought it was going to be positive risk, and it really is positive risk. I think President Trump is talking at 8 o'clock, so we'll probably get a lot more visibility on what's going to happen there, and we'll take it from there. But it's clear that I think he wants to wrap things up in a week or so, or maybe even 2 weeks or so with the Iran campaign. But obviously, it's going to depend a lot on what Iran wants to do. One interesting thing I find, and if you're looking at the Iran situation, it's almost at this point kind of immaterial what they say. It's much more, of course, important what they do. Remember, even a week ago, they were doing a lot of very significant damage to both shipping, civilian deaths, and all sorts of really, really war crimey things like cluster munitions, which have been banned for I don't even know how long. And they continue to be doing these things, right? But the level, for example, of ballistic firings has gone from like 60 to, I think, 2 or 3. And to me, that the most important, interesting thing about the whole conflict is I don't even think they themselves understand how badly their military capabilities have been degraded. So I think the next 2 weeks will be all about maybe them coming to their senses that they are essentially a sitting duck. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we can always be in a situation where he's just doing one thing, and then all of a sudden they storm Karg Island, and the other island, the one that really controls the Strait of Hormuz, um, and just annihilate them there. But that's going to obviously create armed conflict, casualty possibilities, and all sorts of other risk news that could just tumble all of these things to the ground. So every day is an adventure in the market these days as far as macro goes. We just try to follow the flow. But today was a pretty clear day that the flow was risk on, and if you were just trading, straight up trend, trend dots, they carried you to really good profits all the way throughout the day. But gold especially, because gold was just a monster rally to the upside, right? So we've stalled it. We've stalled now at this session highs 1820. See what we want to do here. It's only 7:15, so market's digesting a little bit. Like I said, what I like to do with when I'm sort of looking at this stuff is what's the next move after the pause? We have a pause. Is the next move to the upside? Yeah, it looks like the next move to the upside. So then we're gonna if this signal holds, we'll take that as our initial primary signal, given the fact that the candles prior to it are actually higher lows. This candle will serve the low. This candle will serve as a stop. Okay, actually did not materialize, right? So that candle didn't materialize, but the next candle is a dot candle. So in this particular structure, excuse me, in this particular structure, if this candle holds, what we'll be doing is we'll be going long this candle with a stop behind here, and then trying to hold the position for the next dot entry. But it's a little spiky. We'll see if this dot holds over here. Right now, it's a little problematic. It really needs to go 1920 to give us a meaningful, green dot signal and a suggestion that there's more continuity in the gold rally. Nothing much going on here yet. No signals. By the way, Mark, I wasn't commenting on who's committing. War itself is a crime, so there's no such thing as a war crimes thing. There are just certain things that are banned by Geneva Convention, like cluster munitions, which the Iranians are using in clear violation of the ban. But there's no such thing as war crimes. There's just war. And my point wasn't about the morality of it, because we can all argue morality. It's that morality is of no interest to me whatsoever. It's more about lethality, and Iran's lethality, which was their greatest negotiating tactic, has been degraded tremendously. That's what I was trying to make the point, that their lethality, they've been defanged to a great extent, and they may be defanged even more as we go forward. So the more they're defanged, the more likely they're going to be able to negotiate. That's a positive risk event. I'm not analyzing this from a moral point of view. You can have all sorts of moral positions as to what is moral here. If you consider them to be the single greatest threat to Western civilization since Nazi Germany, then anything that you do to them is fully moral, which is what I consider them to be. Okay, we're going to buy this, right? We got a dot. Not really a lot of leeway for us on the stops, but the stop for me would be around 87, so 47.87 on 47.87 on the stop. And now we, basically what we're looking for is the exit on a dot. Now, whether, if this dot breakout, it fails if it sort of, drops below the lows of this cluster, right? This is where my thing is. And it succeeds if it expands forward, gives us a second dot on which we can exit organically. As I said, the only thing is obviously here we go. So this is where we at. Is this the dot? How much time do we have? Where's my stop? Here we go. All right. So here I'm going to just simply close all on this position, and just bang a little bit more, and we just banged a little bit more. That's a single dot exit. Now, if you're super patient, maybe you think that there's more of a move, you can try to use a 2-dot exit. This gives you lots of flexibility on how you want to enter or exit the positions. But the key thing is just to show you the process. You see how the process is just very, very cool. You have a signal, you take it, you run with it. Gold obviously is really running nicely. Asia session highs looks really, really good. I'm going to hold off on trying to push this because I've already pushed 2 good trades through it. Although I didn't quite execute it as well as I wanted to, but good enough. I mean, we're pumping P&L here, and that's the key thing that makes it right. And I think what you're seeing now, obviously, is all pre-Trump speech positioning. If he comes in and is very, very clear in his intent to wrap things up, I think you'll see more continuity. If he sort of says, if they don't come to the table, we're gonna pulverize them to death, and take out infrastructure. Which, by the way, yes, I agree with you that if you take out water supplies and all of that, those are things, of course, also completely banned by basic conventional warfare. But as I said, this isn't an argument about morality. This is just an argument about lethality at this point. Thank you. But you see, Uz, what I'm talking about? It's the dots structure is such a natural. It's like this gives you a very, very natural 1-2 dance, right? You're really dancing with the price action in a super easy, intuitive way. You're in on a dot, you're out on a dot. You're holding the stop 1 dot back. It's just a very, very natural way of scalping forward. And obviously, when you get like right now, the most perfect setup for this kind of a structure is about a 20 to 30 minute continuous trade, right? When you have a 20, 30 minute continuous trade, dot in, dot out, dot in, dot out, dot in, dot out is a super, super clean way of just, scalping forward, right? Where this is horrible is when we get like super flat. We go 1 dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, kind of a interchange. And of course, we try to mitigate that by making sure that the trend indicator is in place. Trend is very strong right now. We have 5 dot count, 10 basis points on. This is all super positive conditions for the kind of direction. It's basically directional scalping. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do directional scalping here. And this is as good a setup as we can possibly have, as good a market structure as we can possibly have, right? Now, during the days, I was saying, during strong trend days, these type of slice moves happen over and over again. There's maybe 4 or 5 of these kind of half-hour continuous slice moves through which we can just scalp with very controlled risk, very defined exits in a super clean fashion. Where the dots, guide the way. They just guide us through the whole thing. we are. What do we hit? It was around 25s. That's it's a natural pause. Short-term trend still up, slope still up, VWAP still up. We're still basically very, very, very much to the upside. Let me see if there's anything on news flow right now. Just trying to see if there's anything new here. See, so Zero Hedge saying that Pentagon prepares A-10 Warthog surge as Mideast fleet set to double. See, the Warthogs have been the very, very dominant asset in the Strait of Hormuz. They've been the ones that destroyed all of the Iranian fast boats. So on the one hand, you could be talking about some kind of ceasefire, peace negotiation. On the other hand, the level of lethality could increase too. So we'll see. I've learned to take it one candle at a time these days. Did you guys trade NASDAQ this afternoon? After we closed up shop today, there was some really, really strong moves. We went to New York session highs and then just ran right through them, which is kind of interesting. We're way above Asia session ORBs. That's a very bullish sign. If we're floating way above it, that's a sign that the market has got a very directional bias right now. Very quiet. Nothing much going on here right now. Interesting. Market now sees only 26% chance of recession, down sharply from March highs. Senior Iranian source: no talks have taken place via mediators for a temporary ceasefire. Foreign Ministry spokesman says messages have been received through intermediaries, including Pakistan, but no direct negotiations. Multiple U.S. intelligence agencies have assessed in recent days that the Iranian government is not currently willing to engage in substantial negotiations to end the war. Iran's supreme leader Khamenei advisors out there, Iran would not stop the war until it secures its rights and deters its aggressors. Okay, well, that'll be interesting. All right, another dot. Let's go for it. I'm going to buy here. It's very, very, really going to be small, right behind underneath here. What's my low here? It's going to be what, 91, maybe 90, 47.90 as my stop. See, it's very cool. Look how easy it is to adjust my stops with this tool. Super, super fast, super easy, right? Probably 91 actually. I could even go. This is really a 47.91 stop. Modify it. We'll see now. This looks like a very, very lame little move here. So we'll see if we can get a burst back up to session highs. This looks to me like the price action is going to probably roll over a little bit, but we're going to stay in the trade and let it play out. And we're trading Olaprime CFD product now. And Olaprime does trade futures, but they're also going to be getting the Tradovate futures product, which is the one that a lot of us are very familiar with. And once they get that on board, I'm very, very excited. We're going to be able to trade the futures product. The main reason is, of course, we're going to be able to have much more granular exits on future sides. Because we don't have to beat the spread. The spread here, 43, it's not bad, but it's that's almost half a dollar spread. So we're always fighting the spread on the CFD side. When we get to the futures, it'll be really, really great. So hopefully when I come back from next week, I'm going to be gone, so we're not going to be doing any trading for the Easter Passover break for everybody. But hopefully when I come back, maybe everything will be lit up, or soon enough after that, and that'll be a really, really cool thing for us. Anybody, by the way, who's got an Ola, who's purchasing an Olaprime account can get access to this MetaTrader 5 tool set, and I'm happy to give it to you free. Okay, so 51 seconds. Let's watch this, right? Let me see if I can give you the where's my thing, my boomer thing. So you see what's happening here, where basically we came in here, our stop is somewhere underneath here. This is the dot exit, right? We got about 30 seconds left in the clock, and this is really, really starting to move. I actually have a hard exit here just in case it wants to spike up. I'm happy to take that hard exit. Matter of fact, it's close enough. Let's take it. And actually, we can do close half. Let's do close half, go to break even. That's the other beautiful thing. With this tool, I can actually go to close half, go to break even, and milk this thing to the close, right? So here we go. That's the other really, really, here we go. And it just exited me out on full exit. See how nice it is? We just basically ba-boom, 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 3 consecutive dot exits on a beautiful continuity trade here. And with just the partial exit capability of the tool itself, really, really gave us everything we needed. And what was cool about this, by the way, is you see how now it turns viciously against us. But because we had the tool that not only gave us half exit, but put us to break even, we wouldn't have mattered. There's no manual, chase on this thing. Yes, I always trade gold. We're trading, in Asia, we always trade gold for our partners at Olaprime. And then, in the mornings we trade NQ. It keeps us just sort of focused on one product versus the other. Asia session gold is 7% quite not really. Asia session. Let me look at this. Asia session gold. Actually, gold is much more of a movable asset in Asia than NQ is. NQ is very, very quiet usually in Asia, but gold is generally always a movable. We always have at least 3 to 5 trades. We already had like 4 trades today. Pretty much, honestly, I'm pretty much done as far as doing trades right now. Anything else that we're going to do is just really going to be for demonstration purposes only, because the clean, clear, perfect segment of trend is something like this, where we have half an hour of uninterrupted slopiness, right? Uninterrupted greeniness, or if it was down, it'd be uninterrupted readiness. When we get this half hour of uninterrupted green, we have the trend indicator with dots and PPP delta always working for us. In, out, in, out, in, out. As I said, it's just the perfect structure to scalp out continuous profits, right? In a very, very logical, organic fashion. What size eval you funded, Astrologer? You trading a 50 or a 25? The name of the dot indicator is a proprietary indicator that I created called BFF Dots, and it's available only if you part of my coaching. Which, by the way, tomorrow is coaching, right? So if you guys want to join, it's the perfect day. It's going to be the last day of coaching for the next 2 weeks because I'll be gone the week after that. By the way, you see that? It was interesting. So here we go. We're gonna play this. We're gonna play this game right now to the sell side. Again, I'm really not low. I'm just gonna. Why is this not working? Oh, I know why. Okay, sorry. Okay, sell. So here's what I'm gonna do. Basically, against this stop over here, I'm gonna try to sell. So my stop is gonna be, what is that? Like 4,800, right? Let's just make it 4,800 on the stop. 4,800. Modify, bring the stop down, and now we're going to just simply hold this position. Now, this is a red dot in an uptrend. It could easily spike and just take us out. So again, this is really much more for demo purposes. The really great trades, like I said, were all the scalps with a trade. But if we get a red dot, regardless of where it is, we're going to exit on that red dot. So I'm going to just basically watch the candles. I doubt this candle is going to be a red dot candles, but maybe the next one will be. So we'll see how it plays out. But just this kind of a 1-2 tap dance is very, very easy and intuitive to understand, and very easy and intuitive to trade with the tool that I have. There we go. "17 seconds left, and there's a dot over here. As you can see, if the dot holds, we're going to exit on this trade, regardless of where it is. Matter of fact, one of the cool things we can do is close half, go to break even, right? Right now, lock a little bit, and now we're break even. Now we don't really care. Now we exited out the whole position. Boom, beautifully, right? Like that is something you can do with MetaTrader 5 that you cannot do anywhere else on the future side. The idea of just coming in, exiting, holding to break even, and then exiting the other thing, all in a click of a button, single click of a button that's less than a microsecond ability. That's what I designed this whole tool for. That's what makes it so really, really cool for you to use, I don't know the best trader in Pakistan, my friend. You asked me that today. I'm not in the business of recommending best traders. I am the best trader on my YouTube channel. That's the only thing you need to know. We're here to trade my dot structure and my scalp structure. That's what we do here. Anyways, what a great day today, right? I mean, I just wanted. I'm so glad I kind of just got a chance to show you the organic dot structure. You guys got an early preview for it. I'm gonna try and do the same thing with NQ tomorrow. But today it's just been a beautiful day. Just we're really, really just price really respecting dots up, respecting dots down. And we're just capitalizing on every single move here in a beautiful structure, right? The sizing is completely contingent on your account and everything else. I'm actually trading. This is a 20,000 account. I'm gonna trade. I generally like to trade sort of like whatever is the notional. I'll trade, that size. So like it's 20,000. So I'm trading 0.2 lots, right? That's a very, very mild size. It runs really nicely. And as you can see, the P&L grows very steadily without too much drawdown on the thing. I like to control it. Rumors that Pam Bondi is going to get fired from the AG's office. You follow my trades today? Yeah, great. Great. If you, as I said, if you guys want to, let me put the Ola Prime link here, by the way, guys, so you can all make sure you use our code EDGE, get the biggest discount. This is the proper link. Go out there, go get a couple of Ola Prime accounts. They're running some big discounts right now, and I will be happy to give you the trading tool for absolutely free. As long as you open an account, send me a screenshot of your purchase, and I'll be happy to give it to you. People really love this account. So, astrologer, what account did you fund? Was it a 50 or 25? And how long did it take you to fund it? And what size did you trade? Did you trade micros or minis to fund it? I'm really curious. I just asked you like 10 questions. All right. Well, now everything gets compressed. Trend is still actually pretty green for us, but you can see the price action starting to really, the delta is starting to come down. Delta was as high as 10 basis points. Now it's only 5 basis points, really compressing the price action into what they in the South call lots of heat and little light, meaning that you do a lot of physical motion, but you produce very little results, which is kind of like what flat trading is all about. All right, traded 50K. It's good for you. How long did it take you to fund that account, astrologer? In the combo of minis and micros, because you need to, are you trading under the new rules or the old rules where it's like 3,000 up, 2,000 down, or 3,000 up, 2,500 down? Because the hardest part about the new rules is the drawdowns have really gotten tight. I have, today I really came to death a couple of times and I was able to escape. But, the more I'm realizing just how tight the drawdowns are, the more I realize you can't just fuck around with on the 25,000s, especially. I mean, the great thing about the CFD type of accounts is they're very, very straight. They, you don't have like this whole trailing bullshit. It's pretty clean. I think it's 6 up, 3 down, or 8 up, 4 down in nice, clean fashion. So would I take this trade? I'm not taking it right now, but if you were in the spirit of this trade, let me just show you. You would do this. You would do this. So this would be, why is this not working? There we go. I'd be enter over here. The stop would probably be over here, right? Like a natural stop. And then just kind of, you can follow it. And if the candle bursts to the next dot, I would be exiting. So like I'm sort of 18. The stop is very controlled at 12. It's a very relatively small stop, and you're hoping that it runs to the highs. But the reason why I'm really not trading is because you've already seen a very, very strong up segment. You had a corrective segment here, and now there's 3 possibilities. Yes, we could give a burst up, or this segment could just be a stall and a decline further. So I like to trade the first burst segment. And this is going to be a weaker signal just by the very nature of where the segment is at. We had absolutely the perfect dot structure for us over the last hour. It's no need to spoil it. So I'm not chasing this stuff. Interesting. And how do you define trend? Basically when we're like sort of in this like 10, 20-minute continuous green or continuous red move, and you're just, you're just riding that whole thing on dots. Wow, that's really good. That's really, really good. Astrologer says that he basically took him about a week to get funded on the 50s. Was that the old 50s with a $2,500 drawdown or a $2,000 drawdown? Like how much of a drawdown did you have against it? But even given the fact that you were just basically controlling 150s, probably would have worked both. It wouldn't have mattered, but still interesting to know. Old 50s, yeah. The old 50s are a lot nicer. And you see how this is a much lamer signal, because this is a segment that is a consolidation segment. This was the trend segment. This was the profit taking segment, and now it's consolidation. And now you either have chop or you actually have a full reversal segment here on the red dots. So you can watch all of this develop in real time, and it's really, really interesting. I also think basically it's 15 minutes to Trump land, and nothing right now is the time not to trade, because he's going to say stuff and you're going to have just really crazy moves one way or the other as the markets digest whatever the hell he says. So I've actually, by the way, on my feed, if for those of you guys who are just hanging out, brand new to us, I have a feed where I'm doing a lot of AI agents that are helping me find interesting content. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually collating twice a day, all of Trump's Truth Social posts. So it's really interesting to kind of see, it's basically the last 3 posts that he talks about, and I'm not editing anything. So I think it's important to kind of just whatever rants he's going to do, because out of those rants, there's sometimes some very interesting takeaways, market positioning, if you want. And I thought it'd be really cool too. So I'm doing one in the morning, basically one pre-New York Open, one pre-Asia Open, and that's going to be running, on a continuous basis. Plus, I put together an agent that does an Iran update, and of course the market brief updates in the morning, and then of course highs and lows, the ORB highs and lows. And you see basically, by the way, how we broke to the downside over here. See, we just totally broke to the downside. So this was a very weak consolidative move, and I could have taken this trade over here. That would have been a nice, interesting trade to the short side, but it's fine. You could take this trade right now. The way I would trade this now is I'd be short here, stop is against this dot, and see if we could milk another dot to the downside. This was a pretty significant move to the downside, big reversal. So there's a strong chance we could get more momentum to the downside. That would give us the clean entry exit structure that we would want, right? And you can see how you can construct really cool trades that way. No, I'm not asking the AI to make sense of him. It's quite the opposite. The AI's function in this particular case, the agent, just simply goes out there and collects his most recent posts. Because I think the problem is that people don't really read his posts, or they don't really, it's always secondhand, and people are reacting to like secondhand nature. I thought it'd be good to actually see, whatever he's posting that day, because sometimes you get some very interesting clues as to directional moves, and sometimes the posts themselves can be very, very directional. So the AI's function is just to collate it for you, which is really cool. Like it took me the whole weekend to learn how to do this, and I'm still it's just early stage. I'm just tweaking the whole concept, but I'm hoping to package really cool little data packages on my Twitter feed for people, for people to follow. So like basically to curate all the noise into like a nice tight little data package. So you come in here, you can just look at my feed and you go, oh, this is what's happening in prop. This is what's happening on macro. This is what's happening with Trump. This is what's happening with high-low levels. And you're really pretty well informed on where the markets are at in less than 5 minutes, But that's my vision. From vision to reality, it's quite a long time. This whole idea of like, you could just have this, you just tell this agent to do something and it will do it for you. It's like somebody made this really great point that AI is like that junior kid that you hire who's super arrogant and thinks they know everything, but in fact are just basically a little idiot who volunteers to do all this work for you and usually does a half-ass job, and then you constantly have to supervise and correct them. That's kind of like the reality story of AI. It's very, very, eager and does have a lot of power, but it's like that little kid that you constantly have to control before you finally get the product that you want. But I am working on it, so hopefully it will come. Yeah, I'm glad you like that, Peter. Yeah. So my feed is FX Flow. You will forgive me for the next week because it'll look a little spammy and maybe a little kind of off. But that's because I'm tweaking the parameters and the algorithm and the execution, all that stuff. And I promise you, by the end of Easter Passover break, it's going to be a really clean, tight structure of very, very valuable, no nonsense information. No more like random TikToks that I find really interesting and posting them. Maybe I'll do them interchangeably, but no more like here's a TikTok about tennis in the 1980s and shit like that that I love to do. We're going to be all business, all market business from now on. So just to show you, this is a short, right? Like remember, I'm just kind of structuring the trade with you here, and big dump, but we're not seeing a lot of follow through, right? That's, to me, this isn't exactly. It's neutral to negative. Neutral to negative in the sense that the very fact that we've had four candles that did not have follow through to the downside suggests that the sellers kind of dumped and they didn't have any more to dump. On the other hand, the buyers aren't exactly eager to buy it up. It's not a V-shaped recovery. But the longer this holds like this, especially above the sell point. Well, here we go. I was going to say, longer it holds, the more unlikely I want to have it. But now, okay, I mean, this is assuming I was in the trade, right? Now I got 53 seconds. I have a fresh dot. So assuming this, this is going to hold, or even it doesn't. The beautiful part with my MT5 is I could have taken half off over here and just already capitalized on this thing. But assuming it's going to hold and give me a red dot, I would exit the whole position somewhere around here, and that would be the tap dance in, out. No more than 5-6 candles of waiting time consolidation. But you can really, really see how price develops like a wave on the charts with the dots guiding you from one step to the next, right? That's what's really, really cool. Really, really cool. Have I found that the AI is getting dumber? No, it's there's no such thing as AI. Remember, guys, I think we all anthropomorphize AI. AI is not getting dumber. You have to use it properly. You have to give it the right context window. If you if you're in a long chat with it, you will destroy it because it's like an Alzheimer's patient that just loses, it loses all of its initial memory. Remember, it's not like a human being that has like storage. It has limited storage and it basically doesn't care. It will dump the information away. Like the best way to use AI is to actually ask AI, what's the best way for me to do this with you? What's the best way for me to give you this data? What's the best way for me to upload this file? What's the best way you suggest we tackle this project? Instead of telling AI what to do, ask AI what you should be doing, and it will guide you in its optimal fashion to to how you want to construct it. It's been a long journey for me because we're all arrogant. We're like, I want you to do this. We think it's it's like a little digital slave, but in fact, it has to be a digital collaborator to be very effective. Do I have the premium version? Yeah, I have I have and I have the $100 version of Claude, just the general version of ChatGPT, which I don't really use that much. Kathy uses that a lot more. I'm actually thinking of buying the $100 version of Grok, an X API, just because you can just do a lot more things for it. But that's because I'm creating a lot of stuff for you guys behind the scenes. We're actually fooling around. I don't have a time to do this yet, but Kay and I are fooling around with this idea. I really want to create like an AI course for retail traders, where I would basically walk you through what is it, somebody who's never used AI, how would you use it, what functions can you do with it, and then more importantly, I would build a whole bunch of really useful AI products for you, which you can then modify. In other words, if you build the architecture and the bones, it's much easier to customize it for yourself rather than doing it from scratch. So that would be like, I thought that would be a really cool course, because I think there's so many of these courses are like, just basically, here's what Claude does, here's what you got to do, here's the file that you need to put in. Like, who gives a shit? That's all procedural. It's interesting, but it's of zero value to somebody who's new. What you really want to do is give somebody who's new a template that works, and let them modify that template to their custom and style, and that becomes much more valuable to them. Yeah, you like that, astrologer? Yeah. I'm going to try to, while I'm on vacation next week, I'm going to try to sketch out that course, but I really want to do it. Maybe in the month of May. Great time to do it. My favorite month of the year. Okay, so here we are. Now we kind of, we sort of, hit the bottom. Where would I be trading this? If I was trading further, I would be long here with a stop over here. And again, now I'm just looking for the white dot reversal, because basically, where are we? We hit the VWAP. We hit the VWAP support. So either this is true support, we have a chance to to pop up, or this is all going to die. But if it's going to die, we have a very logical exit point on the position. If this isn't, if this is the corrective wave and we're still holding the highs, and there's more buying to be done to the 15, this is where I would be. But again, like right now, it's all against, the Trump speech, which I think Trump's coming on in about 2 minutes. We're going to go off air. I'm going to go watch him too. So doing this is like walking in the dark, hoping the train doesn't hit you, right? It's just not productive, because that context can change in a heartbeat here. But if this was a regular night, you could kind of surf this trade, and see if it will take you to a profit as it bursts higher. That's a nice trend structure for it. That's right, my birthday month. That's right. I'm a Gemini, baby. I'm a Gemini. In my family, I'm a Gemini. My mother is a Gemini. My son is a Gemini. You can just imagine how calm, rational, and completely non-emotional our family is. And everybody else in our family who are not that side, just like, circles around us like we are the crazy planets. Fun story. My son and my mother born on the same day. Until the age of I think 9, my mother would not forgive him for being born on her birthday. That's my family, okay? Believe me, we all love each other, but that is my family. That's what you have. I'm just watching to see if we can get that little burst up to kind of, show you what would be the exit on this particular trade sequence. And by the way, even if it's not a profitable exit, I would take it, because the whole idea is that if you're doing single dot exit, you don't get to choose where you get to exit. You hope that it's in profitable territory, but you gotta just sort of honor the price action that's happening in front of you, right? That's the whole idea. You're putting your stops against the price action that's happening to you, and you're putting your exits on a dynamic basis. You have general ideas. You have a general, wrappers when you enter a trade, but everything is very contingent on the actual price action. Okay, guys, really good session. I really love like the fact that we had super winning session as our last session for Ola Prime for this week. As I said, go knock yourselves out. Let me put the Ola Prime link again. They have great deals now. Really, really good deals. Use the code EDGE if you can. By the way, here we go. Here's a dot. 37 seconds left. I thought it was going to hold. But if it does hold, that would have been my exit. And it probably would have been a flat exit, but it's fine. But, we did a great job. We had the perfect trade structure for us. There's this half hour of just beautiful continuous trend. That's when we really thrive on this kind of a dot structure. And, hopefully we'll get a little bit more. I'm going to go watch Trump and everybody else. Guys, I'll see everybody tomorrow for the final trade of the week in the morning, 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to hang with you probably till 11 tomorrow. So we're really going to see if we can, milk the whole thing as much as we can. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a great day. I'll see you guys a week from next week after the holidays. Bye bye.